Okay, so let's continue on our journey with the cerebrum. So mostly we've already talked about like the conscious stuff, the things that you're aware of. And that's actually because we're dealing with the lobes like on the outside. They're gray matter. So it's actually the cerebral cortex, if you wanted to be technical about where all this is happening. That's why we keep seeing the word cortex. So that's what we have split into lobes. The other things that we have coming off of the cerebrum, there are other gray matters. So remember, gray matter meaning it's where you have the cell body. So this is one area of gray matter out here in the cerebral cortex, but we also have cerebral nuclei where we have these darker areas on the inside. Large variety of function. Some of them are making things that kind of help with emotion or smoothing out movements. So a lot of different locations that we could talk about there, but we'll just leave it for now at cerebral nuclei. And then we have our tracts. Tracts are where you have the axons. So this is white matter, and it really can move into 3 different directions. You can have the tracts go across side to side, you can go front to back, or you can go up and down. Now, if you're going up and down, think of it like you're taking information maybe from the spinal cord up to the brain. You're projecting that information up. So those are the projection tracts. If you have right to left, those are going to be commissural tracts. So kind of like, I think the 2 sides are commiserating with each other. Like right side's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so much work. And left side's like, yeah, me too. So you have your commissural tracts. And then the last one, you're staying on the same side. You're dealing with a lot of the information from the same side of the body, so you're associating it. So those are your association tracts. So that kind of rounds out your cerebrum. So deep to all of this, we have our diencephalon. Diencephalon has 3 parts. This is going to have your thalamus, which is kind of like your major routing center. Information kind of hits here and then it directs it to the correct location in the brain. So this is really what's in charge of your attention, kind of deciding like, oh, this is really important. We need to pay attention to this now. Above the thalamus, we will have the epithalamus. Epi means above. Off of that, it has the pineal gland. And the pineal gland will be in charge of your circadian rhythm. This is what you're fighting when you're trying to pull all-nighters to study for exams. So this releases the hormone melatonin for sleep. Under the thalamus, you have the hypothalamus. Off the hypothalamus is the pituitary gland. I think of that one as the mother of all glands. It bosses a lot of other glands around and kind of helps coordinate your endocrine system. And then the mammillary bodies. Mammillary bodies dealing with feeding reflexes. So the ability to swallow and eat is already ingrained as a brain structure, and you can automatically do it as soon as you're born. And so that kind of walks us through kind of the upper parts of the brain, and then we'll work our way through the brain stem next. All right, so off of the brain stem, you're going to have 3 main parts. We're going to go midbrain first. With the midbrain, you're going to have auditory and visual reflex centers. So auditory and visual reflex centers. With those 2, it's basically the thing that makes you jump when somebody jumps out from behind a door, or if you go into a haunted house. It might be something you're like, okay, I know it's actually going to harm me, but like your body's going to respond to it right away before you can process what happened or what that was. Like, oh, it's so-and-so, I didn't need to jump. Now, remembering like this is conscious over here, brainstem is more like unconscious, keeping you alive, basic functioning here. So after our midbrain, we're going to go pons. Now with the pons, we're dealing respiratory here. So we have a pontine respiratory center. And controlling breathing is, super important for staying alive, so there's more than just one respiratory center. There's one off of the medulla oblongata as well. And so we will call that the medullary respiratory center. Also off of the medulla oblongata, you're going to have a cardiac center. So with a name like that, guess what it deals with? The heart. So this has a role in regulating blood pressure and how fast the heart beats. And then we have a vasomotor center. These two work really well together in dealing with blood pressure. Vasomotor for vessel muscle. So this one deals with the arteries and controlling the diameter of those arteries. All right, our very last thing in this map, and I know it's gotten a little ugly, is hanging off in the back, and that is your cerebellum. Cerebellum deals with kind of smoothing out actions. And so it has a lot of information coming to it from the frontal lobe. So as you send commands out towards muscles, you're going to say, hey, here's what I'm sending out. And then you're going to get information, proprioception, information of understanding your body position, coming back to say, okay, here's what we actually did. So then you can learn from it and then smooth those actions out for use in the future. All right, everyone. So that's the brain. Hopefully seeing it all mapped out has helped it make more sense.